3.2 is all about percentages. So one way that you can do percentages is to always put everything in A over B equals P over 100. A is the amount, B is the base, and P is the percent. If you do everything like this and just turn it into a fraction, usually it makes it a little bit easier, because what you'll just do is cross multiply. And so there's going to be a few ways that you're going to see questions written. The first way is going to be something like 27% of what number is 54. So on this, whatever's next to the percent is going to be your P. Whatever is closest to the word of is the base, and whatever usually what's closest to is going to be your amount. So when we do this as A over B equals P over 100, we're going to say A is 54. We don't know what B is, because that's what number, that's what's next to the of, equals, and it's 27 over 100. Now what we do is cross multiply. So we're going to multiply, get a different color. We're going to multiply the first numerator times the second denominator and say equals the second numerator times the first denominator. So here we're going to have 27 times b, which is 27b, equals 54 times 100, which is 5400. Divide both sides by 27, and we're going to get that b equals 200. Alright, the next way something might be written is what number is 8% of 120. So again, the of is the b. If we see the percent sign, then we know that that's the percent, and the other one, which is closest to the is a. That's b. Okay, so a over b, which is 120, equals the percent, which is 8 over 100. So now when we multiply, we're going to have 100 times a, which is 100a, equals 9 times 120, which is 960. Divide both sides by 100, and a equals 9.6. So 8% of 120 is 9.6. Next, it might say what percent of 40 is 8. So we don't know the P this time. Of is our B, and the is the A. So we have 8 over 40 equals P over 100. Now when we multiply, we're going to have 40 times P. So 40P equals 8 times 100 is 800. Divide both sides by 40. And P equals 20%. Another way that it may be written is 414 is what percent of 180. So is, which is a 414, is the A, of is the 180, and what percent is the P. So 414 over 180 equals P over 100. Cross multiply, we get 180. P equals 41400. Divide both sides by 180. And P equals 230%. Note that when our A was bigger than our B, A is bigger than B, then the percent is over 100. And you'll always get it like that. So those are the main ways that it's going to be just normal questions. Then you're going to have some where you're finding how much something increased or how much something decreased. So the main formulas there are percent increase equals the amount of the increase over the original amount times 100. A percent decrease equals the amount of decrease over the original amount times 100. So when you get these, whatever a number is going from, that's going to be your original amount. For the actual amount of either increase or increase, all you have to do is subtract the biggest number minus the smaller number. So, as an example, something might increase from 285 to 333, and we want to know what the percent increase is. Some of them will also ask what the amount of increase is. So the first thing you do is find the amount, which is 333 minus 285, which is going to equal 48. Then we're going to have the 48, which is the amount, over the original, which is 285. And then we're going to say times 100, and that's going to equal 16.8%. Most of the questions that you get are going to say to round it to the nearest either tenth or whole number, maybe hundredth. It just depends on the question that you get. But you need to remember that the first thing you do is subtract the big number minus the small number, and then you're going to get an answer, and you're going to divide that by whatever one is the original number and multiply by 10. And a lot of them are going to ask for both the amount and the percent. So now let's do one that's a decrease. We're going to decrease from 20200 to 18483. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract 20200, 18483, and we're going to get 1717. Now we're going to take that number, 1717, and divide by the original number, which in this case is 2200. And then we're going to multiply by 100. When we do that, we're going to get 8.5%. So you're going to get quite a few that are like that. So then you're going to have probably some word problems. Let's say a population is at 240 million and it increases by 3%. What is the new population? So what we're going to say is we're going to start with the 240, and we just need to put the 240 here because that's going to, I believe it, the questions are going to actually have the word million there, and it's going to increase by 3%. Whenever we see the percent, remember that it's that number over 100, so it's times 3 over 100 because it's population we're just multiplying to find out what the new difference is going to be. So 3% of 240 is going to be 7.2 million. That's how much it increased. And so now we need to find out what the new population is by adding the 240. So our answer is going to be 247.2 million people. That's the new population. Remember that the total is going to be the base, whatever you start with, plus what you increased. Now let's say that that same number, 240 million, decreased by 3.3%. So first thing we have to do is find what 3.3% of the 240 is. So 240 times 3.3 over 100, and that's going to equal, let's see, I think the question should have asked something different. Let me see, make sure here. We're going to have 3.3 times 240. Okay, so it equals 7.92 million. And so now we have to decrease. So we're going to say 240 minus 7.92. We're going to get 80. I'm going to get 233.08 minus 7.92. So 232.08, and make sure you put million on there. Alright, so next, let's say that we have some sales tax questions. So we know that sales tax equals the tax rate times the purchase price. And the total price is the purchase price plus the tax. So if we have a tax rate is 8.5%, and the price starts out at 59.90. What we need to do first is find the amount of tax. So it's 59.90 times 8.5 over 100, and we get that the sales tax is 5.09. Now we have to add that to our original, which is 59.90. And we're going to get 64.99 for our total price now. Next, you're going to get like a discount. So the amount of discount equals the discount rate times the original price, but now the sale price equals the original minus the discount, because we're going to subtract to get to there. So if we get something like 35% off of 700, first we have to find out what the amount off is. So it's 35 over 100 times 700, which equals 245. So that's how much of a discount we're getting. So we have to subtract these two and get $455 for what our original price is going to be. Make sure on all these questions that you look to see if they say off of or 30% of. If it's 30% of, then that means you're only paying 30%. So here, this same question, if it said 65% of 700, we would have the same answer of $455. Okay, then the next type of questions are going to be on commissions, and they're the same thing. The commission of what you sell is the rate times the price. So let's say you sold something for $47,632. Your rate is 6.6%. What is your commission on that? So we're going to say 6.6 over 100 times 47632. Your commission is going to be 3143.71. Okay, so then you also may have some interest questions. The only ones that you'll have are simple interest. So the interest equals PRT. This is the principal, the rate, and the time in years. Make sure that it's in years. And so then the total paid equals the principal plus the interest. So let's say you borrowed $100 at an interest rate of 5% for 2 years. And it'll ask how much interest is there and how much do you have to pay. So you're going to say 100 times 5 over 100 times 2. And that's just going to be $10 of interest. Then you add that to your original and you pay back $110. You're not going to get interest rate or interests where you're paying a whole, like more than what you borrowed. It's going to be a much smaller amount, but you always have to pay back more than what you borrowed. The last type of question in this section is going to be about markup. And that's like going from wholesale to resale. So the amount of markup equals the markup rate times the original, and then the list price equals the original price plus the markup. So let's say that something originally cost $250. The markup is 40%. We want to know how much we're going to pay. So we have the 250 times 40 over 100, and that's going to equal $100. So that's what the markup is. We add that to the original, which is 250, and we get that the list price is going to be $350.